I feel like when it comes to one watch collection watches, you need to take the best of the sports watch category, and then you need to take the best of the dress watch category and kind of splice them together. So in this video, we're talking all about the best one watch collection watches that you can get on a budget. Welcome back to the Chisholm Hunter channel. My name is Harrison, as always. And before we start this video, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and help a fellow watch nerd out, I'd really appreciate it. I just realized that I was going to take a drink of my tea and I've put the tea bag in it, but no tea. Give me 2 seconds. That's mental. Give me 2 seconds. Right, okay. Cup of tea captured. Just before we kick off with number one, it's important to say that I have covered all price ranges from about £100 all the way to £3,000. I want to be very delicate in the fact that some people's budget watches can be up to £500, that's someone like me, and other people's budget watches can be up to £3,000, and that's absolutely okay. So we've kind of scattered tons of price ranges within this video, all of which come under £3,000. At number one, we have the Baume Mercier Riviera. This watch is very 70s inspired. It's very PRX-like in its appearance, but it does have a couple of key differences. And honestly, I think it's a bloody sexy model that takes the best of dive and the best of dress and you know, amalgamates the two. So this watch comes in at 42 millimeters in diameter. It comes in at a brilliant 10.66 millimeters in thickness, meaning it sits really nice and really close to the wrist and makes it look and feel a little bit smaller on the wrist because 42 mil is actually a little bit big for me. It comes in full stainless steel with a bracelet and it has this beautiful textured dial. And I really like that because textured dials to me add so much in the way of depth and the way of value of watches. The movement in this model is fully automatic and it is visible through the open case back. It is an automatic movement and it beats at a frequency of 28,800 VPH. It also has 26 jewels. If you want the perfect one watch collection, which is what this video is about, I would go with the black dial and the stainless steel bracelet. I think just that brings the best of the two worlds together and makes the best one watch collection. This watch overall comes in at £2,675. At number two, I was going to put the Tissot PRX, but then I thought, you know what? No, Harrison, you talk about the PRX far too much and it's only because you're biased. So I put the Tissot Gentleman. The Tissot Gentleman definitely leans more towards the dressy side, I would say. But if you want a budget Rolex Explorer, then I would say that the Tissot Gentleman kind of fits that bill. It has the same kind of shiny, polished metal running through it. And although it's never going to be to the same quality as a Rolex, I would say at the very bare bones, it kind of has some of the same stuff going on. This watch comes in at 40 millimeters and is 11.5 millimeters thick. It wears pretty beautifully on the wrist and you do, again, have tons of options when it comes to the Tissot Gentleman. The movement in this watch is the Powermatic AT movement, which is a mass-produced ETA movement, but remember the ETA is owned by Swatch and Tissot is also owned by Swatch, so it kind of makes sense to do the two together. This movement has up to 80 hours of power reserve. It is fully automatic. And to top that off, you can also see that movement through the open case back, which for the price of this watch is pretty good. I mean, it does come in at £800, so you are paying a little bit more of a premium than the PRX, but I think it's justified. The bracelet being polished and the stainless steel being a bit thicker and better quality than the PRX does make the price justified, in my opinion. Next up at number three, we have the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical 38 millimeters. Yes, I know, I talk about it far too much, but honestly, I have seen this watch up mountains. I've seen it in the gym. I've seen it at charity events. I've seen it at my sister's graduation. I've seen it in work. This watch is just so versatile, and because it's so accessible, so many people have it as their one watch collection. This watch comes in at 38 millimeters in diameter and comes in at a beautiful 9.5 millimeters in thickness. Now, part of the reason why it is so thin is because it is a manual wound watch and not an automatic watch. So it doesn't have that rotor spinning round in the back, which kind of charges everything up. So because they've got rid of that, they've been able to shrink that kind of thickness down that little bit more. This watch's manual one movement is the H50 movement. And the H50 movement, again, is an ETA movement that is mass produced. It has 80 hours of power, but you need to manually wound that movement. Manually wound? Manually wind? You need to, yeah, you guys know what I mean. When you look at the history of field watches, they are in essence military inspired and military designed watches. They're meant to be rugged, tough, and very, very readable at a glance because they are military inspired. And this watch is all of that, but when you put it on the bracelet, it becomes that little bit more. It becomes just a little bit more dressy. And that's why I think it's a brilliant one watch collection watch. This model as an overall package with the bracelet comes in at £660. At number 4, we have the Longines Spirit Zulu Time. My personal favorite here is the black dial with the green bezel. I think that's awesome. And remember that GMT watches, in essence, allow you to read multiple time zones at the one time. So if you are an intrepid traveler and you travel a lot for business or for work or even just going on holiday, then GMT watches are the watch for you. You do have 2 different size variations to choose between when going for this watch. You either have a 42 or a 39. Personally, I would side with the 39, but it purely depends on your wrist size. I have 6.5 inch wrists for reference. The 39mm model comes in at 13.5 millimeters in thickness, and it has a 46.8 millimeter lug to lug. It wears, honestly, on the wrist just wonderfully. It sports Longines in-house caliber L844.4, and this is a fully automatic movement beating at 25,200 VPH, and it has 72 hours of power. This model does come in at £3,000, so it is genuinely like on the cusp of being too expensive. And actually, I wasn't even going to include it in the video in the first place, but I feel like I should because genuinely, I can't recommend Longines enough. They're awesome. Taking a step down in price with number 5, we have the Tudor Royale, a Tudor that is not spoken about enough. Tudor's arsenal is kind of dominated by their Black Bay 58, Black Bay Heritage, Pelagos, but people kind of forget about the Royale. And I don't really know why, because it made a huge hype bubble when it was first released, and then it just kind of faded away. The Tudor Royale comes in at 38 millimeters in diameter and comes in at 10.4 millimeters in thickness, which is unbelievable on the wrist. Again, it kind of merges the dressy category with the sporty feel, making a Royale baby. The bezel has that iconic kind of notched pattern that we've grown to love from the Tudor Royale range, and the bracelet is an integrated bracelet and it has quite an extreme taper on it. The movement in this watch is Tudor's very own in-house automatic movement. It is the caliber T601, and this has 38 hours of power. As a full package, this comes in at £2,160, but remember that you do have quite a few variations to play between. I personally would go with the black if you're looking for that all-rounder, but that's just me. At number 6, we are hitting up a brand that has a lot of conflicting views within the industry, shall we say. We're hitting up Tag Heuer. This is the Tag Heuer Aquarace Professional 200 Solargraph. This watch comes in at 40 millimeters in diameter, has a 200 meter water resistance, and has a titanium sand blasted case. The movement in this watch is the TH50-00, which is a solar quartz movement powered by, you guessed it, the sun. This model comes in at £2,800, and you're partially paying for the technology here in the solar movement and the titanium, and then you're also partially paying for the Tag Heuer brand name. I hate to say it, but it's true. At number 7, you guys are going to absolutely kill me for this, but I need to talk about it. Some of my friends only wear digital watches. So if you only wear a digital watch, then this one is your one watch collection when it comes to watches. This is the Garmin Mark Q Athlete Gen 2. And the thing that I love most about Garmin as a brand is their fitness and health orientated. This watch comes in grade 5 titanium, and that does make this watch a little bit lighter on the wrist because it is a chunky monkey. This watch comes in at 46 millimeters in diameter and 15 millimeters in thickness. Yes, it is a thick watch, but remember that you're in essence getting your phone and minimizing it down to like this size, and then you're putting 16 days of battery life in it. 16 days. Can you imagine not having to charge your phone for 16 days? Now, I'm not going to go through all the features that this watch has because I'll be here again all day, but it has, heart rate monitors, it has fitness trackers, it has marathon running trackers, hiking, GPS, all the bells and whistles that come with a genuine outdoors activity-based watch. this has. Next up, we have a Seiko model that I have no idea how to pronounce. I'm gonna call someone and just double check this. Hello? I'm just recording at the moment and I'm looking to do this Seiko watch. How do you say Shog Ari?
Shogurai. So it's Shogun and Samurai.
Shogurai.
Yeah.
Shogurai. Okay, right. Shogurai. Right, got it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. You heard it, guys. So the next watch we're going to cover, or watches, are the Seiko Shogurais. Honestly, I don't know how to pronounce these kind of things at all. Now, there are 3 variants of this model to choose between. You have a stainless steel variant with a bracelet. You have a rubber strap option, which actually I have on at the moment, and it's blackened out. It's got hard coating over the stainless steel, which makes it black. Epic. And you also have a red or kind of burgundy model. I would go with probably the stainless steel model here, or I would go for the one that's on my wrist at the moment. This specific model that's on my wrist is the SRP L15. These new models, in essence, take the best of the Samurai and the best of the shotgun and splice it together to make something pretty awesome. They come in at 41.7 millimeters in diameter and come in at 12.3 millimeters in thickness. They are equipped with the caliber 4R35 movement, which is a fully automatic movement, and it has 41 hours of power. If you were to go with this specific model, which is the blackened, more dark model, it actually comes in at £520. And with that said, it's probably time for the wrist check. What is on your wrist today? Please let me know in the comments. I love seeing all the weird and wonderful watches that you guys have on. And also, on that note, this model, specifically, the SRP L15, which is on my wrist, is actually exclusive to Chisholm Hunter. Honestly, that's wild. They gave it to us and us alone, which is crazy. And that's not the only reason I'm including that, by the way. I think the stainless steel would be more of a perfect all-round one-watch collection. But if you do want to see this watch, then head to chisholmhunter.co.uk. That is chisholmhunter.co.uk. At number 9, we have the new Longines Conquest 38mm. This watch, when it first launched about 2 months ago from when I'm filming this, it blew me away. It blew me away. It's like a budget Aquaterra. This model comes in at 38mm and comes in at 10.9mm in thickness. Its lug to lug is 46.8mm and it just wears beautifully on the wrist. You do have a couple of colors to choose between, but the one I would go for, again, is either the blue or the black. The movement on this watch is the caliber L888, which is a fully automatic movement, and this beats at a frequency of 25,200 VPH. And it has a power reserve of up to 72 hours. This model as a full package comes in at £2,000. And I do think it leans slightly more towards the dressy side rather than the sporty side. But this to me is a budget Aquaterra. If you don't have the money for an Aquaterra and you want something similar that is brilliant quality, then Longines, the Conquest, it fits the bill. Next up at number 10, we have the Christopher Ward C63 Sealander GMT. Christopher Ward has been kind of dominated by the 12 at the moment because that's the hype model that everyone kind of wants, and I actually have, which is coincidental, I promise. But the C63 Sealander is just a brilliant all-rounder. This watch comes in at 39mm, comes in at 11.85mm in thickness, and its lug to lug is quite small, coming in at 45.8mm, which kind of minimizes it down a little bit more and makes it look better on the wrist, especially if you have slimmer wrists. The movement in this model is a Solita movement and it has 56 hours of power. I love the way that the orange GMT hand, especially on the white dial, pops out against that white dial. And if it was me, I would go for the white dial. And Christopher Ward are doing a great job at the moment. They're genuinely taking over. Everyone in Glasgow's Argyle Arcade has a Christopher Ward on because they're just such a big fan of the brand. And actually, we had Mike France, who's the CEO of Christopher Ward, on, again, the Into the Mind podcast. And after speaking to him about the brand for a while, it just sold me even more. And that is all from me today. If you have enjoyed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, or follow us on Instagram at Chisholm Hunter Watches, or my Instagram at HB Lifelens, or our podcast at Into the Mind Podcast. And I'm going to be filming some new Aquaterras today, new Amiga Aquaterras, the black one. Very excited about that. See you soon.